Hey, everybody. Welcome on in to Northwoods TCG. Thank you guys, everybody, is joining in tonight on this beautiful Tuesday night. Once again, we're already a couple days into the week, so greatly appreciate for everybody that joins us here as we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about back and forth. Is Scarlet and Violet going back to MSRP? Was Team Rocket Joey right all along? And what are we going to see here when it comes down to the market here in the near future? Guys, I really do like the analysis and the discussion that's out there right now when it comes down to these particular topics. But let's be 100% real. When we talk about an Evolving Sky, or Paldea Evolved, Evolving Skies, it'd be nice if we got an Evolving Skies reprint, but a Paldea Evolved reprint, it's nothing to be concerned about. Eldorado, thank you so much for dropping in. Thank you so much for being in here. First one into the chat. Greatly appreciate it. Make sure you guys hit that like button as you guys come on in as well. We're going to take a quick little run down the rabbit hole. What we're actually seeing, what's going to happen here. Right now, we have a confirmed Paldea Evolved reprint. Now, we're going to talk about Pokemon Market, what it's going to look like for your investment. Number one, the market's going to absorb this very quickly. I don't think that Pokemon's going to print enough to really make a difference in the overall performance of these particular sets. Gengar, welcome on in, bro. How you doing tonight? But overall, let's just hypothetically say that Pokemon were to print this thing to the ground. And I mean literally print as much as they did on the initial release to potentially even more. Because the fact of the matter is that we would need to see such a massive reprint of product at this point in time, especially of sets like Paldea Evolved and those early sets, even Obsidian Flames at this point in time. We could go ahead and take a look at the current market value of all of these sets, and right now it would be so extremely difficult to actually be able to drop this market back to MSRP. Is MSRP even in the question mark when it comes down to these particular items? And I don't think that it is. I don't think Pokemon's going to print enough at this point in time to really create that. I don't think that Pokemon's going to do enough, and we've had reprints in the past. We just had a Surging Sparks reprint. Most people don't even realize it. We've talked about it here on the channel. We had accessibility to it through our distributors. We were able to get some booster boxes. Granted, they were selling them at $190 a booster box, so it wasn't like we were getting a deal. There was such a little reprint of that particular product that we weren't even able to see a real change in the market, right? We saw it go from 270 or 245 all the way down to 215, and then within a week and a half later, it was back to 245. So realistically, not much impact on the market. Is Pokemon going to change their habits and give us an actual reprint? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to see a gigantic reprint of Paldea Evolved. If we see the reprints that we have historically seen up to this date, we are not going to see any major changes when it comes down to the actual pricing of these products. Paldea Evolved, to be honest, if we get a reprint even up to what it was on the release, and I'm going to put a big might be able to draw that down to MSRP. But that is going to be one heck of a fall for that particular booster box to do that. I mean, let's take a look right now. And so just so I got everything, I like doing everything on the fly here, so that I pull open the current market values. I want you guys to see what we actually are having when it comes down to this. Oh, got an N in there, so that way we actually know. I'm glad I didn't wait for MSRP and bought gradually. And see, that is the number one way to combat this. To be 100% honest, if you are concerned that it could drop all the way back to MSRP, we've seen a little blip. So now we got the reprint. It went from 370 down to 350. So we've seen a $10 increase since the announcement of the reprint, or $10 decrease. I think that people are going to kind of play it by ear a little bit when it comes down to this particular product and how it's going to perform for Paldea Evolved. I think that what we're going to be seeing a lot of times is that if you want to really, really try and mitigate the risks of the market, once again, we've talked about it the last two lives, and I'm going to continue to preach it while we're here and in the market. If you honestly think that at this point in time, Paldea Evolved is a good buy at $360, why wouldn't you buy it when it's at $166? If you think that Obsidian Flames is a great price at $250 right now, why wouldn't you buy it at $150? Why wouldn't you buy it at $130? Why all of a sudden do you change your directions on it when it gets less value? We've talked about this all the way back in Sword and Shield for like the Charizard UPC. Another perfect example of where we discussed it, where a lot of us thought it was a good value, even at people were buying it at 180. But then when the value and we got these massive additional reprints or add-ons to the print rate of that particular product, people started bailing on it and saying it was no value to it, that it was going to be worthless. And it went all the way down to $70. So the same people that were paying 180 for that product on pre-release all of a sudden started bailing on it and not wanting to even buy it when it went down to $70, $80 for that UPC. Why did you think that it was a good buy at 120? Why did you think it was a good buy at 180? But all of a sudden, when it's 95, when it's 85, when it's $70, why all of a sudden is it no longer a good buy? Why would you stop buying at that point in time? You need to, if you're going to do investment, you're going to be realistically into the investment side of the Pokemon TCG. If you're going to be in the real investment side of a lot of things, Son of a Merc, holy cow, I got to say hi to Son of a Merc. Thank you so much. I'm Bot. Thank you so much for joining in as well. I haven't seen Son of a Merc for a long period of time, so thank you so much for jumping on back in, dude. It's been a while. We discuss these things. Why? If you're going to be theoretically really pushing investment and you really want to be investing in the Pokemon TCG, if a particular card goes up and goes down, they do. Market fluctuations happen. That happens in the stock market. That happens in crypto. What is the best way to mitigate the risks of these markets? What's the best way to take advantage of it? So when I go crypto, or when I go and do even investment in my stocks, and when I'm doing my Roth IRA, and when I'm doing my investments on those sites, I pick a stock that I think has some really good merit. I pick an item that I think is going to do extremely well futuristically. I pick a stock that has a company backing behind it that's very strong. Is Pokemon a strong company when you're sitting there and you want to do it as an investment? Is Pokemon a very good company? Is it going anywhere? It's one of the strongest IPs in the world, and you think that it's going somewhere. If you do, then why are you investing? And if you think that it's very, very strong, why are you afraid to invest? If you want to sit there and mitigate risks, it's just like buying the stock market, buying crypto. You continually put in a certain amount every single month, every single week into that stock. That way you mitigate risk. You are going to sit there and watch that risk move. You don't buy, your 401k is not put in, and it's not put in every single time the market goes low. It's put in monthly. Why is it put in monthly? Because historically, if you put in monthly, you mitigate risk. If the stock market goes down, yes, you may lose from your investments from before, but you start to bring in your investments down lower, which means it lowers that price, which means you want to see profit on it or see it gain. It doesn't take as much for that gain to happen. So that is the biggest thing that you need to be watching for, even in Pokemon. Paldea Evolved. Is it a good time now to start buying into it? Possibly. Now might be the time that if you weren't here when it was $95, $90, I got videos back 2 years ago when we were talking about buying it at $90 because it's one of the best sets that was released at that point in time. I love Paldea Evolved. I have said that all the way for the last 2 years and said that this is going to be a really good set. Am I going to sit there and buy it now? No, I have not. But if you have not been here and you have not had the opportunity to purchase into it, you're looking at the investment side of things, and it's starting to go down, is now the time to start buying in. Yes, now would be the time to start putting money towards that if you think that Paldea Evolved is going to be a strong set in 5 years. Do you think that Pokemon's going to continue the trajectory that we've seen of every single set of the Pokemon TCG since it's been released, since, 2000, oh, let me pick a date, somewhere right around that 2016 mark. Since really Pokemon Go boom, we've really seen a consistency of year over year, time over time, profitability in the investments in the Pokemon TCG. Before that, things were a little bit slower. We have a lot of people in this hobby. This hobby has continued to grow. It's continued to surpass expectations. When we were getting out of it back in 2006, we really didn't know what the future of Pokemon held, because we came out of the WotC coming into Pokemon USA, taking it over. Pokemon USA had some people that were very, very adamant about staying with Pokemon, but Pokemon was losing a lot of its strength. It was losing a lot of its push, and it was kind of going backwards a little bit. Now, we left at about that. I left at that point in 2006. A lot of people I know left in 2006. EX was really the last era that a lot of my people my age played. After that, we went into some other things where even one of them is arguably, now we got a reprint of it with the Black Bolt White Flare. Black and White was arguably and has been historically picked as the worst era in the Pokemon TCG. Why? Because it was just very, very weak. Not a lot of people in it, not a lot of interest. Sets were kind of lackluster. You know, there were some good sets, but overall the sets have not been as strong as what we've even seen in modern times, especially on release. Some of those sets sat forever with the prices just not moving. It's the same thing. We talked about it going back through XY. I had a list of XY sets, and I could have bought every single one of the XY sets for under $2,000 back in 2019. I had this website all set up with a shopping cart, all ready to rock and roll. And guess what? None of those sets are holding now since we've gone through. So 2016, there were 2 sets that stood out. XY Evolution stood out, and then of course Roaring Skies stood out. What happened? Pokemon buried it in reprints. Pokemon has not done that to that extent now. Could they? Yes, always could. But even those sets have proven that if you would have cost dollar average bought in and continue to bought into those sets over time, you'd be a very, very rich person at this point in time in the Pokemon TCG. Thus far, if you think that the Pokemon TCG is a good company, if you think that the company is going to be here in another 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, what is the worry or the risk that you have of this product all bearing down to MSRP? If it goes back to MSRP, what's the risk? You could still purchase in, you're still going to have good, potentially some very good success futuristically in the Pokemon TCG. So there's a lot of worry. Do I think that Paldea Evolved is going all the way back to MSRP? No, I do not think so. You would have to see such a massive reprint for Paldea Evolved to do it. Now sets, let's take a look. I'll pull open some of the sets that I think actually could do it. Paradox Rift would be the number one on my list right now. That if you were going to go ahead and go for a Paradox Rift, if you like Paradox Rift, I like Paradox Rift. I think it's a decent set. Well, let's just see. We'll pull it open right now. So if we pull open Paradox Rift and we look at a booster box right now, the price of a booster box is $213. Now, if you were to get a decent reprint on Paradox Rift, it wouldn't take very much to draw that back down, because remember, MSRP is only $166 at this point in time. Not a huge amount of reprint would be needed to pull that down, $40. That's not a huge amount. That's not something that's really necessarily something to be concerned about. Sonic, thank you so much for joining in. Greatly appreciated for joining on in and joining into the Northwoods TCG family. But Paradox Rift, perfect example. I like the set, but overall, I haven't put a ton of money into it because I just don't know how the Paradox Pokemon are going to hold up. It's one of my things with Paradox and Temporal Forces, and my analysis is that if you look historically at sets that break down like that, they don't do very well overall. Battle Style is a perfect example of it, where we've got that new mechanic. You got the Rapid Strike, Single Strike, that set. The Tyranitar is a shine out, but generally speaking, in the Sword and Shield alternate art era, definitely a really, really struggling set compared to the rest of them. I don't think that dynamic is going to be a big draw. Are people going to want Salamence, or are they going to want Roaring Moon? They're going to want Salamence. They're going to go back to the Gen 1. They're going to go for what is completely comfortable in there, and what they're comfortable with when it comes down to cards. Are they going to go for Gallade or Iron Valiant? Well, people are probably going to go more for Gallade just because of the feel and the familiarity of that particular card. Now, in 10 years down the road, that could change, but it's one of the reasons that I'm kind of holding off on Paradox Rift. I think it's a cool set. I think there's some good artwork. I think there's some good things in it. But that and Temporal Forces, I just don't feel like the Paradox Pokemon, the future, the ancient future concept really stuck around. I mean, even playability, that's kind of gone away. There are still some sets that people are running, but even people are going back to like Charizards and Gardevoir decks. They become more popular even than doing the ancient future stuff. So definitely think that that's something to be considering when you're looking at Paradox Rift. But Paradox Rift, $213 currently for a booster box. And I honestly think that it wouldn't take much to bring that back down, because it's just not a very strong set in general when it comes down to that. Let's go Temporal Forces right now, since we just brought it up as well. Where's Temporal Forces at right now at the recording of this video? Currently about $231. Again, it's a little bit higher up than Paradox Rift. I think that it could take a decent reprint, but still not a major reprint to bring that back down to the 166 range, bring it down to MSRP. I really think that that's really a good point, to where it's kind of the break-even point. I think you could get a decent reprint, still hold above MSRP. It's not going to drop all the way down, but I definitely think that it is another one that's not as strong as some of the other sets. Definitely could be at risk of a fairly substantial reprint, bringing Temporal Forces down. But we've already seen a Temporal Forces reprint, and it really has not made a big impact on Temporal Forces. it was such a small one. Once again, all these reprints that have come have been so small, so tiny, that they don't make a big difference in the overall market. You see a blip, you see a little bit of a drawdown, a pull down, and a little bit of a blip down in the market. And then people realize, oh, it wasn't a big reprint. And then the prices shoot right back up. Same thing with Surging Spark. Same thing with a lot of them. So Obsidian Flames. Let's take a look at Obsidian Flame. So we'll pull open Obsidian Flames booster box right now. Where are we at on Obsidian Flames booster box? Is currently about 230. Once again, the pull rate, the ease of the pull rate in that set has always been a hindrance to it. There's a lot of those Charizard SIRs. The value of it's down because the pull rates are so high. Gold Charizard's really not holding a lot of value either. I mean, they're only about $20 currently, so there aren't very strong contending cards inside of it. Pidgeot EX, about a $12 card. The full art Charizard right now is sitting at about $10 currently in that particular order. There are some really cool artworks. I think the Pidgeot and the Pidgeotto lines are definitely got some really good things to it. But once again, I don't think it would take a lot to topple that house of cards down. I think there's a lot of these sets that are in danger of where they could go back to MSRP is likely because of the fact that they're just kind of going up in price because everything's going up in price. And one major reprint with the value of the cards inside of them could really topple those. And I really think that right in that middle section is going to be your biggest danger. Paldea Evolved, I definitely don't think is going to be a problem. Obsidian Flames, Paradox Rift, Temporal Forces, I'd be very, very cautious of buying anything above MSRP until we get through this reprint. If you miss it, we got time, right? They're not moving fast. They're not high flyers. Scarlet and Violet reprint, I don't think, or Scarlet and Violet base set, I don't think that we're going to be getting a reprint on that. The other wild card is going to be, of course, the specialty sets. We got 151, we got Paldean Fates, and you also now have Shrouded Fable and Prismatic Evolutions, all of which specialty sets. Prismatic, definitely be scared of reprints on that. I think we're going to continue to see product of that continually roll out. I think that they're going to really hammer Prismatic Evolutions just because of the hype and FOMO behind that set. Booster boxes still don't like to drop below $100 for very long, or ETBs, I should say, not booster boxes, but ETBs really don't like dropping below that $100 mark, and the pull rates of that set is kind of a distaste for people for wanting to purchase the packs to open as well. Not really a lot of people wanting to open it just because of the price, so it's almost become an investor or an overinflated investor set currently still at this point in time. Until you get people wanting to open that set or spending money, we almost need a big enough reprint to get the investors off of it, so people will open it and enjoy it. So right now, reprints, or with the reprints coming of that particular set, Prismatic is definitely going to be there. Shrouded Fable. Let's take a look at Shrouded Fable, because I feel like I haven't been watching that one at all. And I know I don't like the overall set in general. I made that clear in here. Am I investing a ton of money into it? No, I don't think that there's going to be longevity. Yes, there are a couple playable cards in it. The Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box now is almost to $100. Shrouded Fable ETB, even after all this time, is now about $70. So you're getting close to that break-even point. So when I sit there and talk about an investment in a break-even point, if you went and bought it at Walmart and you paid the full $60 for that particular set, because it's a specialty set, $60 is the minimum price. You got to go, I'm going to use Wisconsin. Typically, you got to go about 0.5 or 5.5% tax on it. So in order to get it out of a Walmart, you pay to roughly $60 or $63.30. Then if you go and sell it on TCG Player or at eBay or one of those marketplaces, typically TCG Player or eBay, you pick one of those two, you're going to have to take it times another 13% on those particular products in order to get the sales. And that's not including shipping at that point in time. So you got to figure it might be another $4 in shipping. So you got $75 before you break even on an ETB. So once again, we're one of the sets. I know it's sold out. I know it's hard to find. It's still $70. You're about $6 away from break even point still with an ETB, just selling one. If you sell multiples, of course, I can draw that down because of shipping. We can get into all the semantics, but typically if I'm looking at a one-off, you're going to sell a ETB, and you're going to sell a one-off ETB. If you list on TCG Player, we can only sell one, $75 is your break-even point. So you're still not there with Shrouded Fable, but it is going in the right direction. Currently, we are seeing that market kind of move it up in that upward slot slowly. It's had consistent growth. It's been consistently going up from its low on TCG Player in October of about $30 for an ETB. Went before, of course, all the boom and Surging Sparks incident happened. Since then, we've been sitting at about $50 to $55 for that, and it's just slowly kept going up a couple bucks every month, at $5 every month. So now we're up to about $70 currently. So you're getting close to that break-even point. If you bought them cheaper, if you bought them at like $40, of course you're up. But I'm looking at MSRP pricing. You bought it at MSRP off a Walmart shelf, and you got 5.5% interest or taxes on it. You're looking at about a $75 break-even point with shipping in order to get that out. So just so everybody's kind of got an idea what you're looking at with ETBs, you can knock about $5 off, $70 break-even for like your standard ETB at $55. So overall, I think that the specialty set, Shrouded Fable, of course, a House of Cards, one reprint, that thing's toast. It's gone. 151, a reprint. We're going to have to see a massive reprint on 151 to get that back down to MSRP at this point in time. ETB is well over $200 right now. You think about that for how much product has been released in 151 and how much the pricing has continued to go up. Overall, you're going to have to see some really massive reprints of 151, probably almost equivalent to what we've had out there at this point in time to really draw that down. So the real question is are we going to see Scarlet and Violet tumble down to MSRP? I think that's the big question on the table that's kind of going back and forth. Do I think that it's a good aspect to sit there and wait for it to do that? Is that a good prospect for your investment to wait for it to come to MSRP to buy with these reprints potentially happen? And granted, we've only had one announcement of a reprint of booster box right now, and that's going to be Paldea Evolved. So does that mean all the rest of them are going to get reprints? No, not at all. There's nothing saying that we're going to see those kind of reprints and that these things are actually going to occur. So once again, we're going to have to kind of wait and see how things are. No, I don't think that you're going to see very many of these sets get back to MSRP, except for, like I said, Obsidian Flames, Paradox Rift, Temporal Forces, I think, are probably your ones that are in the greatest danger of being able to do so. Shrouded Fable would easily do it with a reprint, but I don't think Paldean Fates is anywhere near it. You're going to have a massive reprint of Paldean Fates at this point. You'd have to almost go back to Shining Fates reprints to bring Paldean Fates down to that level at this point in time. Same thing with 151. You'd have to just have continuous reprints of ETBs and products in order to draw that price down. And same thing with Prismatic. Prismatic doesn't like going under $100. It's an investor set right now. I think as much as it came out there, investors would buy that up in a heartbeat. And they're just going to keep storing it. They're just going to keep filling warehouses with it as much as they want to print on that particular one as well. So there's only a couple sets that I'd be concerned about. In general, I think most of them are pretty well safe. Surging Spark showed that it can take a hit and keep on moving. We had some Twilight Masquerade, that small little reprint of that as well. I don't know if you want to call them reprints or restock. Some people would argue back and forth. But the amount that we got in those reprints was so unsubstantial that it really didn't make any difference. So overall, I don't think there's very many sets in danger of going MSRP. The only way you're getting MSRP at this point in time on most of these sets, most of these products right now, is if you catch them on Pokemon Center when they come out for reprint and you can get them from there. Or if you do catch them at your stores, so ETBs, tins, collection boxes, things like that, Blooming Waters, collection boxes, things like that. If you can catch them at your stores on the shelf, that's the only real opportunity you got MSRP. But even they're not selling at MSRP right now. Even MJ Holding is selling some stuff over MSRP. So when it comes back, there's no guarantee. We just got boxes. I saw on the other day that there was the tins that I got through distributors. So these tins right here, which are these Paldean Fates tins. I only got a couple of them left already. Them disappeared quick. But those are tins that came through, and I did see those on the shelf at Walmart. Or I didn't see them, but the spot was there at Walmart, and they were selling those for $30. So they're selling the 4-pack tins now for the price of the 5-pack tins. So they have increased even their tin prices from MSRP on the shelf. So it's not even a guarantee that if you find it at Walmart, Target, or at Best Buy, that you're going to be paying MSRP, because they're making money on it by adding price to that also. So overall, I think that there's opportunity. You could see some things get the MSRP. It depends on what we see reprints of. Paldea Evolved, it would have to be so impossibly big of a reprint that I think realistically it's not even something to be concerned about on that particular set if you've purchased into it. If you want to and you want to have some fun, keep riding her down. Keep driving and buying and keep pushing all the way. And that's the bigger thing is I think it'd be really, really a good way to do it is to mitigate that risk is, of course, do the cost dollar averaging. Pick a set that you really, really love that you think is going to do really, really well futuristically, and just keep buying it down the curve, right? As it keeps going downhill, keep buying into it. It lowers your buy-in costs, and if you allocate $350 right now for a booster box that goes to MSRP, start buying 2 at a time, you're going to double your position really, really quickly. And when the price goes up, you're also going to reduce that $350 mark of the ones that you bought at that range and bring them back down to like $250, $225, because you're doubling up for the ones you're buying cheaper versus the ones you're buying more expensive. Take a set amount and use that as your cost base. That's the best way to mitigate this right now. The best way, if you're concerned about reprints, to continue to float and move forward with that and have success futuristically. Now, short-term success, yeah, you might take a little bit of a hit short-term, but long-term, I don't see the issues with the long-term investment. There's enough hype, there's enough popularity, there's enough chase in all these sets that it's going to do well futuristically. And we're going to continue to see it do well. All right. So I made it through my little rant. Like I said, like Son of a Merc said, let them cook. Yeah, I cooked right through it. So do I think Team Rocket Joey is still missing opportunities? Absolutely. I think waiting and telling people to buy things at MSRP is a mistake. Especially in Scarlet and Violet, there just isn't going to be enough to really justify waiting that long. Some things you may. Like I said, Obsidian Flames definitely could happen. You could definitely see that go back down to MSRP, if not below, with a big enough reprint. Paldea or Paradox Rift, Temporal Forces. I haven't looked recently, but what is Twilight at? I haven't looked at a Twilight Masquerade booster box in so long. I've just been kind of watching them. So they're about 280. I mean, they went up quite a bit. They were almost 290 at one. I was gonna say I thought they were almost up to 300, but they've kind of retracted down to about 275. 280 right now is the next one available. And once again, I think that it's a good set. I think that Eevee's doing well. There's a lot of good cards inside of the set in general that are doing really well. The Greninja's still holding up. There's a good set of cards that are currently above $10 because you do have like the Infernape, you got the Buddy Puffin, the Dragapult inside of there, another really strong playable card at this point in time. So there is value in those particular playability cards with the Dragapult deck being so popular right now. So we definitely could see some things. So like I said, let's go over to the chat here real quick. I always get to all the messages that I can. It's been slow enough that I've been able to keep up. So we're gonna go ahead and jump through these. I'm Bot. Thank you so much for joining in. We have some Merc in here. I've said hi to you, Aaron Scott. Thank you so much. Antonio, welcome on in. Thank you so much for joining in. Gengar in here as well. We got Richard Burns. Thank you so much for being in here. Abraham Sanchez, thank you for being in here. And Polywog937, thank you so much for being in the chat this evening. We're going to go through and see. We're going to go ahead and go down to I'm a Bot here. Hold on. I bought only thing I'm buying right now in SWSA. Yeah, and I've been watching for some really good deals on Sword and Shield. There's some really good deals right now on Sword and Shield products. Brilliant Stars, I still feel, is way underrated currently at this point in time. Last time I checked, you could get that at a fairly decent price. In my opinion, I think that that's got some value. It's got a Charizard in it. It's got an Arceus in it. It's overall, it's kind of jumped up again now. So let's see. So Brilliant Stars booster box, yeah, I kind of did jump because when it was down at about $300, I was thinking it was a really good value. Now we're up over $400 again. So that's, to me, that's a little bit more realistic for a Brilliant Stars booster box. So overall, still think that that's a good price. I think that that's a good spot. Temporal Forces is not Temporal Forces. Silver Tempest was the last one that was really holding down value when it came down to the sets. And that's almost up to $400 as well. So we've seen some really good value increases in all these Sword and Shield booster boxes again. So same thing. You were back in April. We were sitting at about 300, 275 and 300. And now we're all the way up to almost 400. So we're at 380 is now, 370 is the next one listed. So we've seen some really good value in Sword and Shield products, and they've been doing really good. Brilliant Stars, I would say Brilliant Stars and Lost Origins are probably the two long-term runs that I think are going to do the best. Fusion Strike kind of sneaking in on the bottom side too. But, if I'm looking at anything but Evolving Skies, when it comes down to Trainer Gallery and strength of a set, I definitely think Brilliant Stars and Lost Origin are going to be your two strongest contenders for future gains. Charizard chase, and then of course you got that Tina chase inside of the other one, plus the Pikachu trainer gallery in Lost Origin, and you have the Eevee trainer gallery inside of Brilliant Stars. So you've got two big contenders for future growth, for future chases, for people looking for those Eevees. When people are looking for collections and things like that in their collections, they're going to need to go back to those sets in order to find them. Lost Origins, of course, you got that Tina pushing really hard inside of there. Really good card in general for the artwork and the overall chase. But then on top of it, you got that Pikachu VMAX, you got that Pikachu V inside of there. And the overall set has been very well put together. Both them sets are very strong, very well put together. Overall contender, I think that both of them in 10 years are going to be right up there. They'll probably pull closer together in price. I still think Lost Origin is going to be a little bit stronger than Brilliant Stars, in my opinion. I think that Pikachu gallery is really a big driving force when it comes down to that particular set. Let's see. How's it going, Trainer Glenn? Welcome on in. So we're going to work down where are we at right now. Kind of bopped up. Let me go back to where I am. My AMD stock finally broke even after 10. Aaron Scott says, seems like not long ago, back when I was buying stuff, MSRP was way too high. It was, you sit there and look at it and everybody thinks that it's been like this for such a long period of time. Right now, at this point in time, it's only been about 7 months. If you would have gone back even during Stellar Crown, during the release of Stellar Crown, up to 2 weeks before Surging Spark was released, I could get almost all of these sets still at distributor. It wasn't hard for me to go and call up and get Twilight Masquerade sleeve blisters right from the distributor with no problem. Temporal, all of them, everything. I bought 6-pack bundles of Obsidian Flames, I remember, all the way. I bought them in October of 2024. So they were all over the place, and I bought them at the $17 a 6-pack. Actually, it's $15. They gave me a deal because they were trying to get rid of them, and I bought 3 cases of them. Because I was like, hey, this is good value. They're going to go up in price, and I can sell them at $24 all day for 6 packs, which is MSRP for that particular product, or $27. But I was selling for $24, and I was making good money. Right? There was opportunity for money on those particular sets, and by just selling under MSRP. So yeah, we were making money under MSRP, Aaron Scott, and that was just a little over 7 months ago at this point in time, right before 2 weeks before the release of Surging Sparks. Stock up on ammo, folks. Nice. Antonio, I see Dragon Ball TCG die before reason. I never went back to Dragon Ball. I'm always concerned about Dragon Ball because I really do like it. I like Fusion World and what they're doing with Dragon Ball. It's just like you said, I'm concerned that it's going to get dropped again. It's really driven on the manga, and with the fact that the creator of Dragon Ball passed away, it's going to be really interesting to see how they continue on with that franchise and if that franchise is going to hold up. That's the one thing about Pokemon is that you're not necessarily banking on one creator living forever, right? It's not based on one creator coming up with the artwork. There's been several directors, several different people working it, several different artists in the TCG side of things and on the cards. So there's always backup and they've brought new artists, and artists have left, new ones have come in. We've had shift and changes, and Pokemon seems to always hold up and do extremely well. So even the new Pokemon series, I have not gone and watched it yet at this point in time, but I know that people are enjoying it, and it seems to still be doing well with the newer people out in the hobby. So overall, Pokemon is holding and doing really well. I was curious to know how it was going to go without Ash and Pikachu in the main storyline. Antonio, Burning Shadows was a bad set, but now it's still a bad set, but the price jumped up. It is. I mean, the pull rates on it are atrocious. It's a very difficult set. Even when back in 2019, when I started back, it was everybody hated that set. Nobody liked opening that set. It was always one disappointment after another in it. Even the 3-pack blisters, products that usually get decent hits, none of them had hits. They were all absolute junk at that point in time. Still is absolute junk. I mean, have you ever watched Pat Flynn's Pocket Monsters doing what is it? Should I open it or keep it sealed? He's opened like a whole case of the 3-pack blisters, and I don't think he's hit anything of value inside of there. I think he hit one GX card that was like a $8 card. So I mean, just once again, there is no value in the set, but the pricing just continues to go up on it. And it's just once again showing that even a bad set can do well. Battle Styles, you know, we can go back to Rebels Clash. You can go back to a lot of sets, even in Sword and Shield, that would be considered junk. And, you know, you go Rebels Clash. Let's go check it out real quick. Rebels Clash booster box right now is sitting at about 425 is the next one, but the last one that sold was at $330. So $330 for Rebels Clash booster box. ETBs are almost the same price as the booster boxes. That's the funny thing. So even bad sets can do extremely well. People, Vivid Voltage. Once again, Vivid Voltage today. Where are we at on Vivid Voltage? Vivid Voltage booster box today is $218. Granted, it's taking a little bit to do that, and it's a lot slower for growth. But if you're waiting for 5-10 years for growth, then there is no concern with that, right? We're still sitting here. We got that reprint in the end of 2022. So you're 3 years in, and you've gone from $105 to a $218 range. That's 100% growth in 3 years. There isn't any stock out there unless you're very, very selective. You're not going to do that with your 401k. You're not going to do that with a lot of properties. Yes, there are some that can. I won't dispute that. But on average, you will not. You can sit there and do a lot of stocks, stocks. Gold isn't even performing at that level at this point in time. So once again, we really are looking at the fact that we really won't see things perform even as well as that in 3 years' time in most normal certified investments. Even crypto, I don't know, has Bitcoin even done? Bitcoin's probably come close from its high to low. If you would have bought it the low to high, I think it's probably doubled. So crypto is probably one of the only areas, and it's very selective on the crypto for which ones are going to do that. Son of a Merc. That's why I'm bullish on them, Northwoods. The majority seems to not favor the future of the ancient, but I like to be the contrary. And it may be. You know, that's where you could take that risk. So this is where you can deviate on anything and have that risk-reward scenario where I don't think it's going to hold up. I don't think that the value is going to be there compared to the other opportunities. So once again, it's opportunity cost. Do I want to put my opportunity cost into an unknown, something that historically has not performed as well as other sets in around it? Or do I sit there and take my opportunity and put it into the sets that I think are going to do extremely well? Do I think that it's worth putting it into like Destin's Rivals? Do I think that putting that opportunity cost into Journey Together or Black and White, Black Bolt, White Rage? Or do I go and put it into Twilight Masquerade or Surging Sparks? That's really where it comes down to. Where do you think your best opportunity is for opportunity cost, and where are you going to get the best bang for your buck? There's an opportunity cost, and by putting it into something that may or may not perform, will tell you whether, you know, and the worst thing is about opportunity cost. You know, you hear Jake from Pokenomics say that. You've heard Dan at Catchmall Collectibles say that. I've heard, you know, John from Pokemon Pokecard Knowledge or Pokeknowledge Cards. You hear all of them talk about opportunity cost, right? We always talk about opportunity cost with cards and what we have to think about when you're looking at that particular thing. Sometimes you don't know what the opportunity cost was until 10 years down the road, 5 years, 6 years down the road, because you don't know if you put it in the right spot. You can hypothetically think where your opportunity cost is going to be. You may think you know where your opportunity cost is, but realistically, you do not know where the opportunity cost was until it happens. You don't know if you made the right call and if you had an opportunity cost. So if you could have bought two sets at the exact same price, so if you could have bought Paradox Rift and you could have bought Destin's Rivals at the exact same price, you will not know if you had an opportunity cost until 5 years down the road. And Destin's Rivals did better than Paradox Rift. And if that occurs, then you know you had an opportunity cost of owning Paradox Rift, or vice versa. Paradox Rift did extremely well and Destin's Rivals did not. And you know the opportunity cost was on Destin's Rivals. You don't know that. You're always guessing until it happens. And sometimes you could have an opportunity cost the first month one way, and then 2 months it could switch the other way. It's a really funny aspect, and it's a really hard way to concept things. And I know that a lot of content creators and investment talk about it. We need to talk about it just so people understand what opportunity cost is and what it actually means. But in general, you don't know what it is until you reach to the point of where you feel your investment has matured. We got Son of a Merc, but I agree, a heavy reprint could topple them. Yeah, I feel very confident that those ones are in very big danger of that. Gengar, until we see products sitting on Pokemon Center, we won't see MSRP anywhere. Yeah, unless you catch it on a drop off at the store. That's the only way it's going to happen. Pokemon Center needs to hold on reprints and printed products and list on it on their site. Yeah, that would be a good way for them to kind of mitigate that and get rid of the bots and really get rid of a lot of scalpers, because they could reduce it with their system, with the queue system. I could definitely see that being a good way for them to mitigate some of these issues. But there again, if they release it on Pokemon Center and they don't give it to distributors, I'm sure they got contracting agreements that they have to give distributors so much as well. I mean, you're not going to be a distributor for a company if they're going to sell strictly online. That's the problem that Magic was having for a little bit there too, with their secret layer and all the way that they were doing things, that they would release stuff specifically on those websites and not give them to distributors, and distributors kind of got frustrated with working with Magic or with Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro at that time, and it started that whole downward spiral by doing that. So they have to be careful with that as well, because they need to keep the distributors getting money. MJ Holding isn't going to put up with, things like that, or your, ACD and Southern Hobby and all these other ones are not going to put up with that very long, of them not getting product and seeing Pokemon Center selling out all the time through a queue. It'll be a while till the mega sets hit MSRP, unless we see some massive amounts of printing. It looks like we're going to see some massive amount of printing, at least on the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes. Someone was on here and said there was 1.58 million of those ETBs available on the Pokemon Center. So comparatively to previous sets, there is some very big reprints right now, or very big print runs of the Pokemon Center Trainer or ETBs. Now, is that going to translate into the other products? Yet to be seen. I really do hope so. I hope that they kind of change their focus at this point and really push. If they're able to start doing reprints of older sets now, I really hope that they print some of these newer sets down and really force the market to shift and really start to change that direction and get that out, get that product out to the people that want it. We've got Son of a Merc. It'd have to be enough of a print to an unwanted set, while a more popular set being put out simultaneously. Here's to the hope. Hell, yeah, they just got to learn to reprint in general at this point in time. I'd be happy with any reprint if we could get it. That's the problem is. Richard says, I don't think there's going to be a crash. Pokemon cards are practically a form of currency. They've become that way. Do I think that there's going to be a crash? No. Do I think that they could print enough on at least a newer set to really create that opportunity to purchase things at MSRP? Yeah, I think that they could do it. It would just be nice for me to be able to go to my distributor and actually just be able to buy what I want. That would be the ultimate dream right now at this point in time, is that I could go into my distributor and say, here's my order that I've ordered for the last 2 years. Can I get this again? And them go, yeah, no problem. We can do that. That would be just a huge move for me that would make me very, very happy. So we're just going to take each baby steps at this point. Let's just get enough product where I could get my normal orders, and then we can work from there. Yeah, anything's possible. Abraham says, only sets I see going to MSRP has in the main product. Example, specific sets, ETB, main sets, booster boxes is Black and White and Journey. Paradox, definitely. Paradox, Temporal, Obsidian, all in danger of it. If we got a reprint on those, I feel that MSRP is imminent. On those ones, they're just not strong enough sets, or like Obsidian is strong, but it's just the pull rates are too easy, which is keeping the price of the singles down, which is not giving the draw to that particular thing or to that particular set. I think that overall, those are probably your risks. Shrouded Fable, of course, a reprint on that would be absolutely catastrophic for that set, and that house of cards would absolutely fall. But I do think that most of the sets right now, from what I've looked at, going back and looking over the last week, have since I heard that Paldea Evolved was getting a reprint, I started looking at some of the older sets, really starting to look and see which sets I felt were going to do extremely well or be able to mitigate a reprint of any size. A massive reprint, not very much can handle it, right? Prismatic could handle it. 151 could handle it. I could even see something like Destin's Rivals pulling through it pretty easily. Black and White right now could take a reprint or another print of what they put out there, and I don't think it would really affect it with the amount of hits that are in that set. It's actually a lot of fun to open. The hit rates are really, really good. It was a lot of fun to open that set, and we really did enjoy it on here. It made it fun to open when that hit rates are there on those sets. So Black and White could definitely take a good massive reprint and it'd be okay. Journey Together, it's not as strong as you think. Overall, Journey Together it's all right. It's not doing as well as a lot of people thought it would. And let me pull it open real quick just so, because I feel that Journey Together, one major reprint of that, and it really depends on if they're going to do the enhanced or the regular booster box. The enhanced is only at 216 at this point in time. So Journey Together getting a massive reprint would be very, very detrimental to it. The Lily's Clefairy, every single time I look at it, is just slowly losing value. It's been on a continuous, just downhill, slow die. Last time we were on a live, which was last week, it was at 231 or 131 for the card. Now we're down to 124, and it's just slowly settling penny by penny. It just continues to drop, and that's going to be your one hold in that one that's going to keep that up. The Salamence EX is fairly decent as well. I like the Salamence EX. I think it's a really good card. Enzoark, another one. I like the card. I think that's a really cool card. But overall, we've just keeps slowly sinking. Even the ETB value is slowly sinking. The booster boxes really haven't been moving much. And if you did a reprint at this point in time, it's very detrimental. I think if you waited another 4 months, that I think it'd be just fine to be able to handle it. But right now would not be a good time for that to go. You know, we can go compared to, and granted, in comparison, Destin's Rivals is nowhere near as old. If I can spell. Wow, I can't spell tonight, apparently. Sorry about that. So if we go with a Destin's Rivals. So let's pull open the Destin's Rivals. Right now, Destin's Rivals booster box is going at $300, but it's actually going back up in price. So Destin's Rivals is very, very popular, doing very well. I think it's a really strong set. The Mewtwo, a really good card. I think there's a lot of fan favorite stuff going on inside of this set as well with the Mewtwo. The Cynthia's Garchomp, very, very strong. The Ho-Ho, very, very strong card. I think that all of them are doing really well. Crobat's doing really well. Nidoking, EX. All of which, really, really strong stuff. You got that Psyduck in there, Misty Psyduck. You know, you got this one, the, what is it, Misty's Lapras. So you've got, like, the Misty's Lapras. All of which really, really big fan favorites to the OG group of people. When you can get into those specifics where you really get into the OGs, the first-gen people, it really, really does help a set. And it really helps solidify it. Destin's Rivals, to me, is going to be a lot better set. But I said that back when Journey Together came out. Is that I was really, really liking Destin's Rivals when I saw the release of that while Journey Together was being released, and I really thought that was going to be the better of the two sets. But Journey Together definitely would be in danger of a reprint, really hammering that one pretty hard, just because everybody shifted over to Destin's Rivals. Black and White, still really, really popular. Destin's Rivals, people still love opening it. So Destin's Rivals is holding it up too. I think I'm almost out. I think I got one ETB left of Destin's Rivals right now. And then I'm down to 5 sleeve blisters. So that's all going. Just once Destin's Rivals came out, guys, honestly, 100% honesty, Journey Together doesn't sell. Nobody's interested in Journey Together. Second, the Destin's Rivals hit the ground, everybody lost interest in Journey Together. But now that Black and White's out, people still have interest in Destin's Rivals. So it's still moving. It's still selling, which is a big change comparatively to Journey Together. And that's been something we've talked about in Scarlet and Violet this whole time is that it seems like the second it's popular in a set until the next set comes out. And then when the next set comes out, everybody doesn't care about this set anymore. It's like, that, get rid of that. Now we're on this one. And that's been a big thing that's happened all the way from the beginning. I could sit there. I always had to time things so that I made sure I didn't have any product about 3 weeks, 4 weeks after the release of a set. If I had any product left after that 3 weeks, 4 weeks after a set released, it didn't sell. I'm still sitting on some of it. You know, I got it down to where I'm down to the bare bones, but I mean, I still have Temporal Forces sitting. I still have Journey Together. I have Stellar Crown sitting on the shelf. I have Twilight Masquerade. I have Paradox Rift. All sleeve blisters that were left over that just fell short of the cases I bought. They don't sell. Nobody goes back to them. They're only interested in the current set, and Destin's Rivals has been one of the big changes where people do. Surging Sparks was another one. People were going after Surging Sparks all the time. I am out of Surging Sparks, but there was also that hype, so I really didn't get... it sold out so fast. I sold through 4 cases of sleeve blisters in like 3 nights, so it was just gone. ETBs were gone the day of release. Everything was cleared out of here at MSRP, and it was done, gone. I had nothing. But all the other sets, people just don't go back. The new set comes, Destin's Rivals came out, nobody's buying Journey Together. I can't sell the ETBs. The few ETBs I have, the sleeve blisters, all that is just sitting. Nobody wants it. So it's really been something that's been occurring in Scarlet and Violet, and I just don't see any change or anything really going to affect that or change that, except for specific sets like Prismatic Evolutions or going back to 151. 151, very, very popular anytime you have it. Paldea Fate's another one. People are chasing that Bubble Mew, so it's a real popular set. So in general, there are some sets that are doing well. Crown Zenith, fire. I can sell Crown Zenith all day long if I've got it. Not so much. It's not as easy in the Scarlet and Violet as it was in Sword and Shield when it comes down to those sales. Son of America could see that. Polywog says your Flareon looks dead. Yeah, the Flareon looks a little rough. I like the idea of it. The sleeping Flareon. I really like the idea, but I wish they would have. I wish that they would have made it so it was like sitting and sleeping, like with its head out like this, where it would sit on the shelf like looking out. It just looks like it got ran over by a truck. This is what happens in Kanto when the trucks come and you don't get your Flareon out of the road in time. That's kind of what that looks like. So I like that it's a Flareon. I don't like the design of it, honestly. The plushie is a little weak. Could have done better. Pokemon could have done better. The Snorlax, the Pikachu are good. They could have done like the Pikachu with the Flareon. Sleeping Pikachu looks really good. My son has that. But yeah, make sure you get your Flareons out of the road. They just don't handle trucks too well. So just FYI for anybody out there, if you're going to go to the dark side with me, enjoy. And we're going to move on. Shit, sleeping. Yeah, it's sleeping. Brilliant Stars to the Moon. Yeah, I think Brilliant Stars is still, compared to the Lost Origin, it's definitely behind a little bit. But once again, it's early. It's early in these sets. I mean, we're trying to make them sound like these sets have been around forever. And yes, they have been around forever in the sense of the last, compared to Scarlet and Violet. But yeah, I mean, it's $100 now behind Lost Origins. The Lost Origin booster box right now is sitting at about $510 right now. Astral Radiance is another one. Let's just look at it. I've opened up all the other one. I might as well pull that one as well, just so we get all of them into here. So an Astral Radiance booster box right now, about the same as about $350 right now. So they're all 3. So you got Silver Tempest, Brilliant Stars, and Astral Radiance, all within $50 of each other. So Lost Origin is the only one that's a little bit ahead, going up to that $500 range. So it's about $100 ahead. So overall value is there. Let's see here. Abraham, he says, by my estimates, markets won't fully cool down until Gen 10. Yeah, I agree. Gen 10, the release of Gen 10 will really slow things down and really cause the market to change again. When we get new starters, we do that reset at the beginning, just like we talked about, what Josh from Old Card Shop and I remember did a live talking about that right between Scarlet and Violet. I think Silver Tempest had just released and Crown Zenith was just coming up. And we were talking about what's going to happen in Gen 9, and we said that this is exactly what's going to happen. You're going to see a real slowdown. You're going to see a drawdown. People are going to go, I'm not going into Scarlet and Violet. I'm staying in Sword and Shield. We all heard it. A lot of people, even in my live, said it and talked about it during that. And that's exactly what people do. They stay behind until something finally pops, and then all of a sudden, oh, there's money, or, oh, there's really cool stuff, and they go. And it takes something to finally break that and get them to do it. It's just a matter of what. And that's what we see a lot of times when it comes down to the cooldowns and things that happen. Will there be a cooldown when we switch over? Yes, absolutely. For sure. Going down, Trainer Glenn, what's up? How's it going, Trainer Glenn? Hopefully you're having a fantastic week. Granny Ball. What a time that was. Poke New Flow exclusive. Help. My collection value keeps going up. Well, just throw it in the bathtub. That'll cool it off there, Poke Nufo. just straight out throw it right in the toilet and flush 3 times. That'll take care of that value problem you're having. Just keep that under control. We don't want the fire to get too big on them. So you do that, it'll knock off about 75 to 80% of the value of that set. Please do not take that advice. That is not, I should put a little disclaimer now on here. This is just for fun and not actual advice. Do not throw your Pokemon cards into a toilet and flush 3 times. Because some kid will watch this and do it, and then they're going to try and sue me for doing it. Let's see. Antonio says, oh, I've finally got my cards at PSA are in assembly now. Well, perfect. Went from Q&A to assembly in 2 weeks. So that's cool. Well, at least they're moving. That's a good thing. SO to Josh. I saw Rattle's video earlier. I did not. What happened to Josh now? I have not seen Rattle's. Honestly, I haven't been watching Rattle as much as I used to. I've kind of backed down on Rattle a little bit. But what happened to SO to Josh? Yeah, I don't know what happened, Josh. I'm going to have to go back and see that. Pokenuvo. Yeah. Do not flush your cards. Please do not flush your cards. I was kidding. It was a joke. Don't do that. Keep your binders safe, man. And then once... Oh. Yeah, I didn't hear about that. So I'll have to hit up Josh real quick and see how he's doing. I haven't talked to Josh for probably about 3 months, and it's been busy, and I haven't been able to keep up with everybody. So I should probably hit up Josh. I know a lot of things too. I'm going to let everybody know as well. I should put that link in there, and I will. So if you guys have not heard, it's going to be hard to... Most of the people watch me have probably seen everything that's going on, but with Pokemon Classics as well, guys, make sure you're going over and checking that out as well to help out Pokemon Classics with that. It's a horrible situation, and in general, I think that it'd be really helpful for the community to help him out for what's happening and what's occurred there. So once again, if you do want to help someone out and have a little bit of extra cash to help someone out, that's definitely a person in the community that is well worth it. I am so sorry for the situation that he's going into, and I know he's beating himself up a lot for that, and I'm going to tell him right here, Matt, right now, is do not beat yourself up. You can't control everything, and if you're honestly looking at it from the fact that you could have done 60 things differently, it's never going to change. Things happen, and there's nothing you're going to do that could have changed it. You could run every scenario through your head, but that wasn't an option. That wasn't what happened. And the fact is that you can't beat yourself up about what happens when other people do things wrong and when them situations happen. So, Matt, I am so sorry for you and your family. I know you're going through a rough spot. Please, if you need to reach out, I put it on your message. I'll tell you that right here, Matt. Make sure you reach out to me at any time. We can sit there and talk. You're not far away. If you just need someone to talk to in person, you're only 3 hours away being in the cities, so I can be over there in no time and come and help you out. So once again, make sure you guys, if you guys want to help out, I'll put the link down below if you made it this far in the video. Make sure that you go and help out the family and help out his family on that situation. It's just not a good situation at all, and we have prayers for you, prayers for Matt and his family at this point. So that being said, I'm going to kind of leave it at that when it comes down to that situation. But yeah, there's definitely some things that are happening right now. I know that some people are you can tell the tensions are getting pretty high in the actual hobby itself. Also, it's becoming very, very, I want to say hostile towards some of the things that are going on currently right now. Biggest thing is like even my video I talked about, and they're still sitting here. I just haven't put them away from the short I did, but like these Marty Morpeko boxes, I thought that this was a fantastic art. I really do love these cards, and they're going to be great in my collection. But I also think that if you want to go pick these up, honestly, they're still sitting on the shelf. So the problem is that people go in and they take all the black and white, they take all the other cards, but sometimes they miss products. You know, they don't even think about a product like this because they see a battle box, and psychologically, when you see a battle deck, people really don't have interest in that battle deck. You know, they just sit there and say it's a playable cards. They're all sitting on the shelves. There's hundreds of them on the shelves right now. It's pretty much the only thing that's left are these battle decks. And that's one of the funny things is that sometimes there is some value in these battle decks. Marty Morpeko definitely, in my opinion, a fantastic card. I love the artwork of that card. This is going to be an awesome collection piece. I'm trying to see if any of them are worth grading, because I would love to have that and I graded for my collection as well. I think it's really, really awesome artwork. And once again, they're still out there. I picked these up on Monday, so yesterday. Our restocks happened on Thursday, so they almost sat for 5 days and nobody had interest in them. 4 days, and nobody had interest in them. So I picked up 3 of the Marnies and 2 of the Stevens, and to me, it's just funny because then you get people in the videos calling you scalper because you're telling people that. It's like, well, if you're not going to take it, I can't help you. I mean, they're there, and I understand some areas are gone. They will be. Some people are on it. Some people understand that. Some people will want that. Some people will take them, and that's exactly it. They were there for 4 or 5 days. Nobody wanted them. Nobody touched them. They've been sitting there. One person bought one of the Stevens ones, and that's just it. So why not? Why not buy them? I bought them because they're $14.99. The card in there right now is $24 for the Marnie, and it's a beautiful card. I love the artwork, and I'm going to end up putting them away as a collection piece for a long time. Probably bring them out in maybe 5 years and see how they do. Maybe sell off some of them and go buy another collection piece. So overall, really, really cool. Love it. If you get an opportunity to pick them up, I definitely would. MSRP is definitely not something I'd be concerned about when it comes down to those particular cards. And there's a lot of things that are kind of hidden out there as well. There's still some hidden gems that you can find in places. It just takes a little bit of work and time to be able to pull it off and get them. So, all right, guys, it's been an hour. So thank you, everybody that's joined in. I'm loving and seeing everybody in here today. Hopefully, putting out my short and getting on my Discord. Once again, I've been trying to be active on the Discord. So if you have discussions and things you want to do on the Discord, anybody that's out there watching me right now, make sure you join the Discord. And if you can, be sure that you go into and put up some chats, put up some comments, put up some of your big finds, show me your Walmart stores. Let's see what you're finding in your Walmarts or in your Targets. Put the shelves. Let's see what we got running around out there. And that way we could really have a discussion on what's going on in the market and see where everybody, everybody's different situations. Some people say they got products, some people don't have any. And I love to see where everybody's at. And then once again, throw it up in the chat. Let's see if we can get the Discord built up a little bit with people like-minded individuals discussing and looking at the Pokemon TCG and investment market. And also we do the rip and ships too. So overall, guys, thank you, everybody. Once again, if you want to support the channel, check out the link, too, for the merch. If you do want to purchase some Northwoods TCG gear, we have that available. And if you do want to also do a monthly helping of the channel, join the membership. Membership is going as well, so if you join the membership, you do get the Northwoods TCG. We have some discounts on NorthwoodsTCG.com every so often, and then we also do the Guest the Energy. So if you join us for our rip and ship on Friday and Sunday, just talk Pokemon, or if you do purchase and do a rip and ship, we have the Guest the Energy. So your first pack, or your first opening, your first pack, we do the Guest the Energy. You Guest the Energy, you get a bonus pack on your order just for being a member of NorthwoodsTCG.com, or NorthwoodsTCG YouTube. .com. Other than that, thank you, everybody that's joined in this evening. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. And once again, make sure you hit that like, that subscribe, and hit that notify so you know when we're live here on YouTube. Otherwise, we'll be back next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Central Time. As always, we're staying on our constant schedule, and we hope to see you then. Otherwise, we'll see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.